As we continue throughout the year to celebrate the various ministries that this church is involved with, I'd like to welcome Clara Hughes, who was just up here, and Jackie McCarthy to come forward as members of the DuPage United core team. They are the group of volunteers that works closely with DuPage United, a local organizing community that works on various justice issues here in the local community. They work on things that are both critical and winnable in an effort to slowly change the landscape of DuPage County into a more just place. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Good morning, I'm Jackie, and this is Clara, and we help represent our church on initiatives with DuPage United. And as Seth mentioned, DuPage United is a community organizing group, and today it's made up of 30 faith-based institutions in DuPage, like ours, and DuPage United brings about bringing organizations together to harness our collective power to act on common ground issues. Now, what does that really mean for us? Well, let me try to demonstrate. Each of you should have received a string when you walked into the church today. If you didn't get one, raise your hand and one of our team members will get one to you. We have a few extras if anyone didn't get one. So hold up your string, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. And each time you can answer yes, tie a knot in your string. Do you have a family member or a friend who has struggled with depression or another mental health issue? Tie a knot. Do you know someone who has been discriminated against because of their race, gender, religion, age, or sexual orientation? Tie a knot. Is there another burning concern you have, maybe for the environment or affordable housing or gun violence? Tie a knot. Do you cry when you watch the Hallmark Channel? All right, that one's for me. I just want to make sure I'm not alone. Oh, I see Seth's tying a knot. Okay. If we try to solve all these knots in our string by ourselves, we may not get very far, and our efforts may be as weak as a single string. But if we put the strings together and work on common knots, our bundle becomes much stronger, like a rope. And that's how DuPage United works. Instead of having all different strings pulling in different directions, they combine the individual strengths of our organizations into a single rope. And so we can all pull together in one direction toward a common goal. So it allows us to accomplish much more together than we could alone. And that's really important to me because that lets me put my faith into action. So what have we done with DuPage United lately? I'll give you a few examples. We met with Governor Pritzker last summer to increase the medical reimbursement rate from $80 to $900 a day for crisis stabilization mental health services. And this allowed one of the closed Chicago units to reopen. We formed a gun safety consortium in Illinois and went to Washington, D.C. to put pressure on gun manufacturers to improve gun safety. And we're beginning to work with local officials to increase affordable housing right here in DuPage County. Now, some believe finding affordable housing in Glen, Ellyn is much harder than taking on gun manufacturers in Washington. But personally, I believe we need affordable housing because that is exactly what my family needed when we first moved to Glen, Ellyn in 1968. My mom moved us to Glen, Ellyn after her divorce because the schools were good, not because she could afford it. And we lived in what are now called the Parkside Apartments on Roosevelt, right behind Malloy's Liquors. And my sister and I walked to Lincoln School from that apartment for 4 years until my mom was able to put down a down payment on a modest house on Western Avenue. It was the last house supposedly sold in Glen, Ellyn for under $30,000. And that was more than 50 years ago. But for a single mother with 2 children today, where's the affordable housing in Glen, Ellyn? I know Clara has a few words to say about that.
Thank you, Jackie. Before I talk about what we're doing with affordable housing, I want to share why I think DuPage United Ministry is important to me. For me, it's a meaningful way to be a voice for those who do not have a voice. I like that DuPage United is an organized group of multi-faith institutions who are like-minded in social justice issues. I like the way we develop the issues that we work on. We begin by holding listening sessions and one-on-one conversations with you. We build the power needed to make change by developing relationships with key officials. We are in the work of being a voice for others for the long haul, not the short fix. Recently, my husband Roger and I have been working with DuPage United faith-based institutions in Lombard, Glen, Ellyn, and Villa Park to make the need for affordable housing visible within our communities. There are a lot of multi-housing developments going on, most of them luxury, and we believe that there is room for affordable housing in this mix. We know generally that you all believe that affordable housing is important for the first-year teacher, for working families that work for minimum wage. We plan to meet with village trustees to introduce ourselves and talk about a number of things, including the need for affordable housing. We want to know where you specifically stand on affordable housing in your community. We're asking you to stop by the table, which is in Pilgrim Hall, before you get your cake. Maybe the line for cake will be so long you could come see us first. And let us know where you stand on affordable housing, either for or against, in the community in which you live in. You don't have to live in Glen Ellyn. And finally, and just before the music starts playing, hey, we want to let you know how you too can be a part of this social justice ministry. Like a Channel 11 fundraiser, we have a few ways that you can participate. At the bronze level, you can contribute by showing up at one of our next gatherings. We're holding a gathering for all of our institutions in April to develop our next actions, and we want to hear from you. We're also planning an assembly with Governor Pritzker, and he wants 25,000 people there before he's going to show up. And we can do that because we are part of a regional organization with sister organizations in Chicago and Lake County and Fox Valley. You are invited to these events. There is power in numbers. At the silver level, you can contact one of us and let us know what you're passionate about. Talk to us more about your knots. Let us know what moves you to act. And at the gold level, you can attend DuPage United leadership training in February and join the ministry team for this congregation. Any way you want to be involved strengthens our efforts and helps us to be a voice for those who do not have a voice. So let us know whether you support affordable housing in your community. Either way, we want to hear from you. And whether you want to meet with one of us for coffee. We'd love to hear more about your stories. Thank you. And please pick up the strings before you leave the service.